Dani is a mega popular YouTuber and game developer known for his often absurd games. I figured I'd play every game he's ever made and review them in order from worst to best, obviously excluding ones not available to the public and his VR games, which leaves us with 15 games to review. Let's go. Off the Balls is a score-driven arcade game where you launch a ball into other balls to get points. Time slows down while you're aiming your ball at the cost of your energy meter. There are different ball types to aim for. The red balls are normal, the health balls restore your health, duh. The pink balls are extra bouncy, and the spiky green balls kill you. You have to chain together hits quickly to maintain your score multiplier. It's really basic, but was the foundation for a much better game you'll see later in the video. Fair and Square is a 2D action shooter where upgrades come at the cost of your health. Before every game you pick from one of 4 weapons, movement buffs, and whether or not you want explosive bullets, with each upgrade costing a different amount of your starting health that acts as a modifiable difficulty meter. There's a few enemy types that have different weapons, as well as explosive barrels you have to deal with. The goal is to get as many points as possible by killing enemies before you die. It gets repetitive rather quickly since the core gameplay doesn't really evolve other than experimenting with different builds and seeing the different level layouts. YouTuber Tournament is a game where you watch popular YouTubers fight each other. It's not really a game since you have no control over the outcome of the fight, you just watch them as they unfold. Each YouTuber has a different weapon and different stats that add some variety to the fights. It's kinda fun seeing wobbly popular YouTubers fighting each other, but it gets old pretty quickly, which is why it's towards the bottom of the list. Farty Rocket is a Flappy Bird-esque game where you control a rocket trying to get through as many gaps as possible. You're only able to move the rocket up by boosting or down by not boosting. The further you get, the harder the gaps become as they're packed closer together and vary more in height. There's also coins you can collect placed in treacherous locations. You unlock different rockets by either getting a certain score or collecting enough coins. The game is very simple on casual mode, but epic gamer mode will rotate the screen, adding another layer to the challenge. It's a very simple game, but has a few good additions to this style of game. Triangle Game is a top-down shooter roguelike where you try to get through as many floors as possible before dying. Each floor is randomly generated with combat rooms and chest rooms which you can spend money on to unlock upgrades like increased speed or increased fire rate, as well as different weapon types. You move, dash, and shoot your way through enemies, progressing from room to room in search of the exit. The game gets harder over time, introducing new enemy types, but it takes too long to get to a good level of challenge. The upgrades and better weapon types do a good job at making you more powerful over time, but I wish the difficulty scaled better to match that. It's still a fun roguelike, but the difficulty is poorly paced. Karlson 2D is an action platformer where time only moves when you do. You can move Karlson around and steal weapons from enemies you kill. You can kill enemies by either sliding into them or shooting them, which makes you a killing machine at both close and long range. The game is pretty easy to cheese your way through since you can kill enemies off screen, which is really easy if you get a machine gun. The combat and movement is very fluid though, even if it could use some polishing. Tree Team is a game about planting trees to earn money so you can plant more trees faster. At first I thought it was tedious, but after about 10 minutes I got hooked and played for longer than I care to admit. You spend money in the shop on trees and upgrades like a better shovel to dig holes faster or a better watering can to make trees grow faster. Eventually you unlock other YouTubers to do work for you, like Mark Rober, who can plant trees, and the Smarter Everyday guy who waters trees. Before long you'll have a full team of workers running the whole process. Eventually you get enough money to unlock the next area, which has better trees that get you even more money and more people to unlock. It's a chill time waster that'll fulfill your monkey brain desire, similar to clicker games. Bad Game is a 2D game where you control a blue rectangle as you grapple onto hook points and avoid falling in lava. You start out as a lame blue rectangle before becoming an epic blue rectangle by buying upgrades in the shop. Every box you break gives you points which you can then spend in the shop on upgrades like more health, bullets that shoot out and break boxes, green boxes that shoot bullets out when you break them, and my personal favorite, thick. Normally red boxes damage you, but with the thick upgrade they can't hurt you and you're bigger. As you get more upgrades, it becomes easier and easier to get points to spend money on more upgrades, which is an addictive gameplay loop even if the core gameplay is fairly simple. Rerun is an action parkour game where you fight your way through levels with swords and power-ups. Levels are structured around this mechanic of warping you back to the spawn point every time you get a power-up. The power-ups are then used to reach areas of the level that were once impossible to get to. Combat feels weighty while being intentionally clumsy and pairs well with the fast-paced movement. Balls is a score-driven arcade game where you launch a ball into other balls to get points. Yep, it has the same premise as Off the Balls, except it's a lot better since it's a fully fleshed out experience. It has the same goal of trying to get points, but there's a ton of upgrades here that change up the gameplay. Every time you die, you can spend the points you earned on a large selection of upgrades like missiles, invincibility from certain spiky balls, and an auto bounce. The variety of ball types you hit and avoid change up gameplay as you have to dodge hazardous areas while still playing fast to maintain your score multiplier. You're not just working for a high score though. There are 3 identically attacking bosses in the game that are unlocked through various means. Discovering all of the game's secrets was a fun challenge that scales in difficulty nicely with your upgrades. Karlson is a first-person combat platformer that's a demo of the full game Dani's currently working on. Oh, you don't know what Karlson is? The movement is very weighty and momentum based, which makes it hard to learn but very satisfying when you're able to pull something off. You can slide, which carries your momentum, allowing you to chain together jumps at a fast pace along with your ability to wall run. The game is broken up into 11 levels as of now that aren't really complete levels but more of a work in progress sandbox to showcase how the full game will eventually play. The goal of every level is to collect the milk carton at the end of each, which involves completing platforming challenges and/or engaging in combat. There are several weapon types that are all fun to use, as well as a grapple gun which adds to the weighty movement. The demo has a great foundation, so I can't wait to see how the full game will eventually play. Milkman Karlson is an action platformer where you fight through enemies in order to reach the store at the end of the level. The movement controls are intentionally jank as it's definitely designed to make you rage a bit. Apart from the awkward walking, you jump by charging it up and then releasing, which hurls you forward like a ragdoll. You can get guns as well, which work in conjunction with your slow-mo ability that improves aiming accuracy. The levels are well designed and challenge your skill at controlling the awkward character in different ways. Crab Game is a first-person multiplayer battle royale game where you play in various minigames. Yep, it's Squid Game. Like the show, there are several different games you play. Some are related to the show, but most are made specifically for the game.
Get him, boys.
The games are easy to understand but challenging because of the inherent randomness that comes with playing with a bunch of other online players.
Back the fuck up, knock the fuck up you.
You can parkour around levels, and there's a hit button meant for certain minigames but can also be used to troll people. Most of the games are absolute chaos because you're trying to accomplish a goal but also screw over other people so you have a better chance at making it to the next round. On top of the randomness, there's proximity voice chat, which brings back the chaos of the Call of Duty lobbies, making every lobby a meme. The biggest flaw with the game is the wait time between matches, cause you can't see how far along a game is until you join the server. This means if you get out early or are trying to find a new game, you have to server hop until you can find a game that's almost done, which is kind of frustrating. There really isn't a bad minigame cause they all bring about distrust and the desire to screw someone over that Squid Game captures so well. Jelly Drift is a car drifting game with really twitchy but addictive driving controls. You can pick from either race or time attack mode and have to beat your opponent in race mode to unlock the next map for both race and time attack modes. I preferred race mode as I love trying to screw up my opponent to get ahead. Bye-bye! Though your opponent can mess you up just as bad. Daddy, no! The controls of the game are really twitchy, but I enjoyed the handling as I got used to them, and had some insane recoveries that made me feel like an absolute god. As well as new maps, you also unlock new cars that have different stats, such as speed, drift, and stability that have a noticeable effect on your car's handling. Muck is a survival roguelike where you build and craft items to survive for as long as you can while battling monsters. It uses a lot of the same tropes as other survival games like gathering materials to craft items, but does so with the goal of getting stronger through upgrades. During the day, you gather materials to craft things to prepare you for the night, where you try to survive the onslaught of monsters. Killing monsters gets you gold, which is where the roguelike elements come into play. With money, you can buy chests, which give you some sort of buff to help you survive. The game has a really steep learning curve at the start and will definitely take you a few tries before you get out of the I don't know what I'm doing phase, but once you do, it's a very worthwhile game with a lot of depth. You can play with friends as well, which makes the game even more fun.
I just have that. Oh my god, what? He was facing the other way and he just...
Fetch me their souls!
Killed him.
I played with my brother and it makes the learning curve a lot less steep since you can revive each other, meaning you only have to restart if everyone in the party is dead at the same time. There's a nice variety of monsters you have to deal with and various shrines you can activate that have different purposes. There's even boss monsters that spawn in that are insanely difficult.
Oh my god! He did 98 damage.
Yeah, we're done.
Those were all of Dani's games ranked from worst to best. Obviously they weren't all meant to be amazing, as some were made really fast for game jams or as a personal challenge, but I just thought it would be fun to play through them all. All of Dani's games are free, so if you're interested in more free games, I have playlists about free games on Steam and free games on itch.io linked in the description. Thanks for watching and be sure to like and subscribe to see more videos like this in the future.